Welcome back, listeners. Ready for another deep dive?
Always up for a good mystery.
Well, get ready because this one has it all. Conflicting documents, a tangled family tree, and a lawyer who vanishes into thin air.
Sounds intriguing. Where are we headed this time?
Johnstown, Pennsylvania, 1931.
Okay, I'm picturing it coal country, the shadow of the Great Depression looming. Who's our main character in this historical drama?
Her name was Maria Bobko Kuhlback. Now, on the surface, she seems like an ordinary woman. But when we start digging into her probate documents, well, that's where things take a turn.
Probate documents. So we're talking about the legal stuff after someone passes away, like wills, estates, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Probate court is all about figuring out who gets what, especially when there's a will involved. And in Maria's case, her probate file is like a window into her life and the secrets that might have been hidden within her family.
I'm intrigued. What kind of secrets are we talking about? Anything juicy?
Well, right off the bat, the document mentions that Maria couldn't sign her own name. And get this, they recorded her language as Slavish.
Slavish. That seems incredibly general, even for back then.
Right. It makes you wonder how many other details in these old records might be inaccurate or just plain wrong.
Absolutely. It speaks to the importance of context when we're dealing with historical documents. We can't just take things at face value. We have to consider the time period, the biases, the potential for errors. It all adds another layer to the story, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Now, going back to Maria's probate document, it lays out how she wanted her estate to be divided. She left $50 each to St. Mary's Byzantine Church in Johnstown and another church in her homeland, a Greek Catholic church in Olsavica, Czechoslovakia.
So she maintained ties to her faith and her roots. It's a common thread for immigrants, that connection to the familiar.
And it seems like faith was important to her. She also left an extra $50 to St. Mary's for their rosary altar and another $150 for memorial masses.
She was clearly a devout woman. Okay, so far so good. We've got bequests to churches, a connection to her homeland. What else does the document reveal?
Well, this is where things get interesting. She left her death benefit from the St. Anne Society number 116 to her pastor, Reverend Nicholas Sabatos, specifically to say masses for her soul. And then the rest of her estate was supposed to go to her niece, Mary Zett.
Okay, seems straightforward enough. A devout woman leaving a portion of her estate to her church and the rest to family. What am I missing?
You know how we were talking about potential secrets? Well, there's a detail about who prepared this whole probate document.
Okay, lay it on me. Who is the family lawyer?
It was Stephen Sabatos.
Sabatos, as in related to Reverend Nicholas Sabatos, the pastor who received part of the estate.
Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner. Stephen was the pastor's son.
Hold on. The pastor's son prepared a will where the pastor benefits. Now that seems like a conflict of interest waiting to happen, and something tells me this is just the beginning of the eyebrow-raising details.
You're getting really good at this, like sniffing out the shady stuff. It's like you've been reading these old documents for years.
Well, let's just say years of studying history gives you a nose for when things don't quite add up. And this whole pastor's son situation. Yeah, that's definitely setting off my internal alarm bell.
Mine too. But before we dive into what happened to Stephen, let's unpack this family tree a bit more. Because remember, Maria supposedly had a niece, Mary Zett, who was supposed to inherit the bulk of her estate. So where does she fit into all of this?
Right, because families, especially back then, could be sprawling affairs, lots of branches, distant cousins you've never met. It can get messy.
Understatement of the year.
Yeah.
Okay, so according to Maria's probate document, she was married twice. First to a Michael Marchesak, who sadly passed away in 1914.
And that lines up with what we know about the earlier probate document related to Michael's death.
Right, but here's the catch and get ready for a real head-scratcher. The 1914 document says they didn't have any children. But this 1931 document, it paints a completely different picture.
Oh, how so? Did they suddenly have a bunch of surprise kids between documents?
That's the million-dollar question. So this later document claims Maria had 2 children from her first marriage. A son named John, born around 1895, and a daughter. No name for the daughter, just that she existed.
Okay, so a son and a daughter, but the earlier document says no kids at all. Definitely a red flag. What else does it say about these kids? Did they stay in Johnstown?
Hold on tight, because it gets even wilder. At the time of Maria's death, her son John was said to be living abroad, either in Slovakia or Bulgaria. And the daughter, supposedly married to a John Fuchek and living in Bulgaria or Croatia. And get this, they apparently had 2 kids of their own. But the document doesn't even list their names.
Wow. Okay, so we've gone from 0 to potentially 4 grandchildren living who knows where in the span of a single document. Talk about a genealogical plot twist. What do you make of this discrepancy?
Honestly, part of me wonders if this was just a case of lost in translation. Remember, the document mentions Maria couldn't sign her name, so she probably wasn't fluent in English. Could there have been miscommunications with the court about her family history? Maybe details got mixed up or misinterpreted along the way?
It's definitely possible. These records were often compiled with limited information and, let's face it, probably some assumptions based on people's backgrounds. A language barrier could easily lead to inaccuracies and inconsistencies.
Exactly. Plus, imagine trying to track down family members scattered across continents in the 1930s. No internet, no easy communication. It wasn't exactly a walk in the park. But then again...
There's always a but then again.
Right. There's that other part of me that can't help but wonder if there's more to this story than meets the eye. Was there a reason to omit information about Maria's children in that earlier document? Could it be connected to this whole potential inheritance fraud situation? And what about those DNA results you mentioned? Did they clear up any of this confusion about Maria's family?
That's the thing about DNA testing. It can either provide concrete answers or just muddy the waters even further. In this case, we have confirmed descendants of Maria living today, but those early branches of the family tree, still a bit of a mystery, I'm afraid.
So we're left with more questions than answers. Did Maria have a secret family? Was there foul play involved in how those documents were filed?
And perhaps the biggest question of all, what happened to Stephen Sabados?
It's like we're in one of those old detective movies. We've got family secrets, missing money, and now a disappearance. What more could we ask for?
It's certainly a recipe for a compelling mystery. So tell me, what exactly went down with Stephen Sabados? How does a lawyer just vanish?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's not like he slipped and fell into a coal mine. People just don't disappear without a trace, especially not someone like him. He was a respected lawyer, a prominent figure in the community, and then, poof, gone.
And this disappearance happens right around the same time questions are being raised about Maria's estate, right?
You got it. See, according to research notes, it seems Stephen might have, well, helped himself to the money Maria left behind. Not exactly the kind of behavior you'd expect from a man-of-the-cloth son, right?
Not exactly. So, the pastor's son, who prepared the will, potentially makes off with the inheritance money and disappears. Talk about adding insult to injury. What did the family have to say about all of this?
Well, that's where it gets even more interesting. Eventually, Stephen's sister, Yolanda, steps in. She starts settling some of the outstanding debts from Maria's estate.
Okay, so the sister steps in to clean up the mess, presumably. But what's her explanation for her brother's sudden disappearance? You're not going to tell me he went on a spiritual retreat, are you?
Not quite. Yolanda claimed that Stephen was living in an insane asylum.
An insane asylum? That's a loaded term, even for the 1930s. Were there any records to support this claim?
Unfortunately, that's where the trail goes cold. We haven't been able to find any documentation confirming whether Stephen was actually in an institution or not.
So we're left with speculation. Was he truly struggling with his mental health? Did the guilt of his alleged actions drive him to a breaking point? Or was this whole insane asylum story a convenient way to explain away his disappearance and the missing money?
It's impossible to say for sure. And that's the frustrating thing about these historical mysteries. Sometimes the answers are lost to time.
We're left with fragments, pieces of a puzzle that may never be complete.
But you know what? Even without all the answers, I think we've uncovered something truly fascinating here. Maria Babko Kubak's story might seem small on the surface, a probate case from nearly a century ago. But when we dig a little deeper, we find a web of family secrets, potential fraud, and a disappearance that still has us scratching our heads. It really makes you think twice about those old documents tucked away in attics and basements, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Every family has its mysteries, its untold stories. Maria's case is a powerful reminder that history isn't just about dates and names in textbooks. It's about real people, their relationships, and the secrets they leave behind.
And sometimes those secrets end up leading us down some pretty unexpected paths. Well, listeners, that's our deep dive for today. We've gone from a simple probate document to a tale of family trauma and unanswered questions. Remember, the past is never truly past, especially if we're willing to listen to its whispers. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and who knows what historical mysteries you might uncover.